Hi, everyone. I am Tara, aka Spirit Mother, and I would like to welcome you all back to my channel on YouTube, Spirit Teaches of Going Within Self, on TikTok, 1974 Enlightened Soul, and I'm also live on my Facebook. If you're new to my channel, I always recommend, suggest, and really description on my YouTube channel, Spirit Teaches of Going better understanding of what it is that I do bring forward on my channel. Some of you are aware, I use a lot of my own life experiences, and I throw myself under the bus. It's things that people would say, well, you should be humiliated for, or you should be embarrassed of telling people that. Okay, but I'm not. And the reason why I'm not embarrassed with sharing my story is because my whole life I felt embarrassed. Okay, I felt embarrassed of what happened to me. I felt embarrassed of things that I did because others, didn't accept it. It's like the topic that I'm going to talk about right now, okay? And that's the behaviors of men and women. I titled it Men and Women Behaviors, okay? But I meant behaviors of men and women, okay? Because I sit back and I wonder, like, okay, because I will say, every man that's ever come into my life has really treated me like I was a piece of shit. Okay. But I know that a lot of it was because that's how I felt. Because I was told so much that I wasn't worth nothing. And, your biblical texts say that, women are basically second class citizens and we're not supposed to have any say. So, yeah, right now in the world, you have men against women, and that's the way it's been. And I'll tell you right now, this book here, it might be like if you put all of it together, it might be a story. But this here has created more division than it has actually helped bring people together. Okay, we're like, okay. People will say Jesus is coming back to eliminate certain people because of what have you. Well, I don't care whether you're a man or a woman. I don't care what culture you're from. I don't care like what color your skin is, what your beliefs are. When you're preaching about dividing people, and that's what the Bible teaches a lot of. And people can say that, oh well, that's not true at all. It's bringing people closer together. Could you please tell me how this is really bringing people closer together? Okay, let's say, for instance, you have Charlie Kirk. Okay, a lot of people aren't fond of him. I didn't like a lot of things he said either, because it was a lot of more dividing people. So that book to me tells me that it's doing more dividing than it is bringing people together. People are going to bring people together. Love is going to bring people together. Realizing that, a man is not superior to a woman and a woman is not superior to a man. But you do the dividing because you read a book that says wives shall submit to their husbands. And what if they don't? What if a woman does not submit to her husband? Does that deserve a beating? Seriously. Because that's what you preach in many ways. I was watching a video today, and a woman and a man, a mother and a father, were getting their child ready to be married. This child looked about 6. And you say that's culture? You say that's the religion? You say that's the fucking tradition? That's pedophilia. Ugh! Seriously, what kind of God are you worshiping? Because I'll tell you right now, if you go back to Adam and Eve, okay, let me fill you in. You won't believe me? So be it. I don't give a shit. You say Adam and Eve, but it was originally Adam and Lilith, right? Adam and Lilith, they had children, did they not? You'll say, no, no, it was Adam and Eve. No, it wasn't. Eve was the child of Lilith and Adam. How do you, like, she left, seriously, you say Adam created Eve. You're saying Adam created Eve from dirt. So is that why you will figure that because Adam created Eve from dirt? But you say God, right? You say God created Eve from Adam and Eve from dirt. Well, you say Eve was the dirt because you say she ate the apple. Well, if you're saying Eve was dirt, created from dirt, so you treat her like a piece of dirt? Seriously. Hey, Adam, go fuck yourself and I'll like you. Because, see, people won't like that. That's blasphemy. That's towards God's children. Is it towards God's children? Or is it towards the ultimate pompous ass who thought his shit didn't stink and thought that women should kiss his fucking feet and suck his hole? Go fuck yourself. This is directed towards Adam, the spirit of Adam. You know, say the sun. Seriously, the sun is an egotistical shithead at times. I'm saying it because see, the sun always wants to overpass the moon, right? It always wants to try to eliminate the moon. Say the sun is the male and the moon is the female. Well, if you think of nature, nature cannot survive without both, right? So the original went back to when they always blame the women. Why? Why do you always blame the feminine? Please. Why? Because they have the vagina and they produce the babies? Oh, right. Because man has to have the most offspring. So let's take you back to what you say about the fallen angels and because you say that the fallen angels and the human women created the Nephilim. And Bruno, I'm proud to be crazy because crazy just means enlightened. Insanity is the ones that go round and round and round and round in a circle like a fucking hamster wheel. Like people, they're finding different things because everything is hidden and they have to bring it to light. So they're showing a narrative only that it's a narrative they want you to see. They don't want you to see all parts of it. That's the problem. See, we say that, okay, religion is dividing us and the systems are dividing us. The government's dividing us, right? But in the end, we're dividing ourselves because we're listening to the bullshit that they spill out there. Okay, there's different things coming out, and people are saying, well, I mean, they've been saying it for a while that Michelle Obama is a man, and like a lot of the time, you can look and you can actually see that certain individuals do strongly look like a man. Because that's the part where the male wants to feel like there's. I will tell you, a male is so insecure about themselves that they have to be superior over a woman. It's true. It's the masculine is insecure with themselves. So the only way that they feel secure is if they feel needed by a woman. And if the woman don't submit, what do you do? Seriously, the book says wives shall submit to husbands. Google it. Theseus or something like that. I just had it up on my phone. So men want women to be kind and nurturing, but yet they treat them like they're worthless pieces of crap and only there to clean their boots because the man is, they're the rough, tough, and rugged, and they're the ones that do all the manual labor. Do you? What? Because you go in the woods, or because you lift this? Because I'll tell you, being a parent, whether you're the male at home or whether you're the female, that is the most laborious job or position to be in because it's never ending. You don't get a break from it. Not even most of the time when your children are grown up because they still come to the parent. Well, not freedom, just submissive. Really? Just submissive. How about you be submissive? How about you be fucking vulnerable? Here's my boob, kiss it. Seriously, because the submissive part, that sounds a lot like, okay, you let's go to Michael and Lucifer. Lucifer was actually a woman, just so you know. And Michael was male. He had to be the dominant one, right? That's why, one second. There's a figurine. It's Michael. Got the sword and got his foot on the head. Seriously. That's your submissive. And if you're not submissive, then they're abusive, right? Because that's what the church is giving them permission to be. And it doesn't matter if you're in a female body or in a male body, like because it's that part of the masculine and feminine. But to a man, a woman is not supposed to stand up for herself. Why? Why does that intimidate you so much? You can't even tell your girlfriend that they're beautiful. I often wonder how many men are actually fucking gay and just in denial of it. because you demonize female sexuality. Seriously, you demonize feminine sexuality. You tell us that, if we have our shirts, oh, look at the whore walking around with her breasts hanging out, short skirts on. I've heard so many men say that men are visual. So if men are visual, and they say women are after money, well, or the bad guy, the bad boy. I don't want a bad boy. As I see bad boys, it's like, if you got to be a bad boy, what are you trying to hide? What are you covering up for? For certain men and stuff like that. Like I question their sexuality, and the reason why I question their sexuality is because you don't want the attractive woman or the woman that's around you, and you hang out with men all the time. You want to be around men more often than women. You talk down to women, so you don't want the woman, but you don't want to come forward with your own sexuality. That's the same as a woman. You hide behind the opposite sex because you feel ashamed of yourself, or you had an experience when you were younger and a parent caught you. Because I did channel it before. I actually seen it happen in the vision because I was shown where the son, and I can tell you what they look like too. They had blonde hair. And it was a longer blonde hair. And they were caught kissing another boy. And their father grabbed hold of them and took them home. And on the way, said, no, no son of mine is going to be a faggot. And then he got roughly hit while the mother tried to turn away. People say, "Oh, you don't see that. You don't see that." Oh, yeah. Yeah, I do. And I'm pretty sure I know who it was too. You know, this here too also creates conflict for people who are homosexuals, whether you're gay, straight, like whether you're bisexual, pan, or lesbian, or what have you. It doesn't matter. It all falls under more of a homosexuality. Yeah, I know people say it references to males, but that's the problem. You have to have a fucking label for everything, don't you? You can't explain something without having a label. Labels make it sound more, in some cases, like you're more intelligent, more educated, or you're just more sophisticated, or, You make it complicated for yourself, and then that creates more of a division. I shared my story. I said, like years ago, I was bisexual. I haven't been sexually active in 3 years and 8 months now. But I'm at that point where, it's gonna take a really special person for me in the way that, it's gonna be a connection, not because we connect because of our sob stories from our upbringing, but because we've overcome them. So that's why like, I don't like, you can agree with the Bible and everything like that. I'm not saying that stuff that they say in there isn't right, but what I am saying is it creates more division and conflict than it does really bringing people together because you think in these um, the protests when people are coming together, do you really think it's the Bible bringing them together? Or is it actually the heart and love? Because I'll tell you right now, from things that I've read in the Bible, I've not heard anything in there in that book about love. But like they'll want you to go by that and say that wives have to, like women submit to the husbands. Michael, go fuck yourself. Because if making a woman submit to you is the only way you can get a woman, then you ought to be ashamed to even try to get a woman like that. Seriously. It's like that culture where you're marrying kids. I don't care what freaking I'm not being rude, but I'm just being blunt about it. People say about judgment, only God judges. Your heart is God. You judge what is right and what is inappropriate. That is totally inappropriate. That is legalized pedophilia. Bruno, no. To tell someone to be submissive, that is something that they take turns doing within the relationship, which makes it equal. But it doesn't put a boot on each other's head. You be submissive because it's okay. Let's use in sexual relations, right? So people will figure that the woman should be submissive even if she doesn't want to have sex. I say go fuck yourself because you really need to have a Lorena Bobbitt pulled on you. Is what you really need to have. See, Adam didn't like the fact that Lilith wouldn't be submissive, so he demonized her. And he had sex with his daughter Eve and produced children. But you'll say that's not true at all. Everybody said, okay, so people say, people will go on things and say, Jesus is the way. You repent to Jesus. Well, here, John the Baptist prepares the way. Mark chapter 1. This is the good news about Jesus the Messiah, the Son of God. The Son of God. Okay, so God is the universe. Okay, so the sun represents the heart. Okay, and the moon is more of a representation of the womb, the sacred, okay, into the darkness, okay? You come from the darkness into the light, okay? The birth. You birth from darkness into light. And when you come out, your heart begins, okay? You say it's going in there, okay. But when you come out, it's that first actual jolt, okay? Now, I'm not debating your beliefs. You're going to believe how you want to believe. But what I'm saying is, if you believe that division is appropriate and submissive to anyone, see, I'm not submissive to a man and I'm not submissive to a woman. I give spirit a voice. So I am both masculine and feminine in a female body. Okay, it's that balance. So sometimes I may come off really masculine, and other times feminine, and other times childlike. That's the three. That's the Trinity. Okay. So when you look at this, do you not see the chains? So if Michael has this chained, okay, it's like chaining the feminine. You know, Michael lied about Lucifer to the father. You'll say no. That's like when two siblings, one will lie to the parents and put the blame on the other person, and then the other person is shunned and pushed away. Okay, so people will say, "Michael is your protector. Michael is your protector." No, sorry, Saint Christopher is my protector. That's who my protector is. Purísimo, mío, yo la and I know through spirit, through somebody else, Saint Christopher actually, like, it was somebody gave me a message, and it was in ancient writing. The way it was the way it was written, the kind of type of the way the alphabet, it was more like something from ancient times, something you'd see written with regards to Anubis. Well, I believe Anubis was actually Saint Christopher also, because Anubis, it's depicted as a dog, the man with the dog face, and so is Saint Christopher. Saint Christopher is my protector. Michael, I love you, but you're a butthole at times. This is spirit to spirit. You go and you demonize the feminine because of your own insecurities. Do you know Michael was actually the snake, the Cyclops? That's why he was jealous of her. He was jealous of Lucifer. It wasn't that the father picked her, picked Lucifer to be the taker, the caretaker of the earth. But then you throw Michael in there, which created a jealousy instead of saying, okay, you both own you both run the earth, rule the earth together. But one wanted all dominance and you submit to me. So it was Lucifer and Michael was Adam and Lilith. And so if it was Adam and Lilith, well, let's see. Okay, you take Lilith. Lilith was actually like Gaia, and Adam was Uranus because it was the mother. Gaia was the mother of Uranus. So Lilith was the mother of the sun. They came to Earth together, which you say which came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, they came at the same time because the egg came in the mother and it was already fertilized. And I know that sounds messed up, but you take okay, a lot of people would say that the father came down to have sex with the daughter, the Gaia. The Gaia was the or um, okay, how do I put this? Okay, you had the big Earth, the Terra. Okay, the terra firma. You had the mother, Terra. Okay, so maybe Terra was Lilith, or Lucifer, right? Now, vorresti che venuto da emozione sarà. E tutto che è segreto politico, noi siamo. See, remember back when I said about Cain, okay? And you say that Cain killed Abel. You say that Adam and Eve had Abel. See, we're going to sort through this because I'm channeling different things. Like there's different, because if you look, parallel worlds, okay, what have you, each parallel world has its narrative, its story. Okay. So that's why some seem a little messed up because it happened in one way or another. If you go and you watch Once Upon a Time, okay, I'll use that because that actually resembles much like what you would read in your in your biblical text, okay, in your stories, but you won't believe that, right? Of course not. Okay, so in there, it had different versions of the twins, the boy and girl, Hansel and Gretel. Thank you. Okay, Hansel and Gretel. You could in that there were two versions, okay? Because there was two parallel worlds, okay? It's the same as Cinderella, okay? In the first part of the seasons, the Cinderella in that story is white, peasant, and in the one when Harry grows up and he goes through a portal into another world. There's another type of Cinderella. Cinderella in that one went to kill the prince because she thought it was the prince who killed her father, when in actuality it was her stepmother. Okay, and in the other one, well, the stepmother was the hag and the stepsisters, but it depends on how you look at the story. You can I know it sounds confusing, okay, but if you look at it in a scientific in a scientific way, okay, you have Adam, which would be the atom, and the electrical voltage would be Eve, the connection, right? The spark of life. This is the thing. So you say okay, you say that it was demonized because Eve supposedly ate the apple, which it wasn't actually. It was it was Adam. Okay. Okay. So you demonize an apple because it's knowledge. Okay. So you demonize the snake. Okay. Somebody said that there was a Spartus, not Spartus. I have it in my thing. It was supposed to be like the the big monster coming up from the ocean. Okay. Here, let me show you something. I did that a while ago. You have what they're talking about right here. Okay. It's going around the island. Okay. Underground, but there's the water up there. I did that back in 2020. And I just started drawing it. It's like any psychic drawing. Anytime you're drawing something that just, look into it. Like that there, that's different ancient symbolism. So Bruno, you say natural is not God. I want to hear from you right now. You say natural is not God. Okay? Explain, please. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just want you to explain because everybody is saying about God, and God is a man. God is all that. Okay? But you put God as being a male. Well, like, could people really, really, really, really please tell me you really think that, you know, okay, if you're looking at Papa Smurf, think of it this way. Papa Smurf had what? What was it? 99 or 100 male Smurf? Why would Papa Smurf want 99 or 100 male Smurfs? And then he makes Smurf out of the clay. Is that where you're getting that from? And that's where your biblical text, like all of God's children were like they were men? I want people to go look at the picture, the painting of the figure of what's presented to be God in the cloud naked, and the other man in the other cloud and laying there naked, and they're like this. But that there is showing that, God is gay, right? God is homosexual. Seriously, that's the same as Papa Smurf. Why would Papa Smurf make 100 men? Because I'm sure the hell they weren't born, right? Because how would they be born? They had to make Smurf out of clay. Is that the part where Smurfette is the father, or Smurfette is the mother of all the other Smurfs? So that would be the part where, well, then it's saying that if Papa Smurf, in that case, was actually considered to be the god, then he had sex with his own daughter. Right from the get-go. I'm sorry, but you're promoting pedophilia. Seriously, and then there's Smurfette with a bunch of 100 men, no children, but are they a bunch of gays or are they really doing dirty to her? But see, that's the thing. Were there that many? You have the 12 disciples, and they were really intimidated by Mary Magdalene knowing what was going on. But see, the reason why Mary Magdalene knew what was going on was because Mary Magdalene already knew. You think that Jesus was the teacher? You think of it this way. They depict Mary Magdalene as being about 15 years older than Jesus, which would have made Mary Magdalene the same age as what you said Mother Mary was when she had the child. But it wasn't Mother Mary who had Jesus. Mother Mary had Yeshua and Mary Magdalene at the same time, and the Father took Mary Magdalene. I know, I'm sitting with that. Decirle tu hermosa. Actually, what it was they had to disguise Mary Magdalene as a man. Yeshua learned, but Mary Magdalene had it all mastered. And that's why in the series Chosen, what you end up having is you end up having Mary Magdalene as being like 7 demons. So you're saying, so if that was the case, then, well, Lilith was sent away, so hmm, is Lilith the wife of Cain? Is that what was wrong? Because, something tells me Lilith may have been white. people say that Jesus was black, but hey, I already gave you that of how that happened. Because Mary Magdalene and the father of Jesus also had a twin. Jesus had a twin brother. One was actually albino, which would appear white, and the other was actually more of a mulatto because mother and father were black and white. That was the forbidden. So it had like we're taught fallen angels, and then they say that Lucifer was the fallen angel, and the other ones jumped with Lucifer. That's where the masculine and feminine comes in. I'm gonna ask the question too about, like, because this here wait, okay, you think of it this way, how do people depict Lucifer? As being beautiful, right? That's how people depicted Lucifer. But now they reversed it and they made Michael the beautiful one and Lucifer the demonic looking one. Or, maybe you're making Cain look like that. See, it does. The separation between the women and men, masculine and feminine, goes right back to when they start writing in the Bible about Eve being the one that got them kicked out. My question is okay, when is the masculine side of us going to take responsibility for its part in all the fucking mess? Because, I'm gonna be honest, I see more ones that say that, "Oh, we're masculine." You're so fucking masculine that you put the women in the front to fight, but you say that you're superior, you're stronger. If you were stronger, why the fuck aren't you in the front fighting for the women? Seriously, because I've not seen any man stand up and fight for me, but I've stood up for men. So please excuse me if I have a low tolerance for people who say submissive. Yep. It's like Lilith saying, go fuck yourselves. That's what it is. When people feel like somebody has to be submissive to them, it's an insecurity that they have of their own. Because that just means that you have to feel more powerful. You have to feel above them. Like, oh, God's looking down on you. Really? Why? Because this book says so? Somebody who, like, that's true. You believe in that, but you don't tell other people about Christ because they're going to find Christ in their own way and they don't need you to find them. They need themselves. They don't need that book to find Christ because that book is not going to help. It's not going to make them find Christ. It may give a bit of information. But like I said, what I've seen in there was more so saying that you're going to kill other people. And you say you're going to do it in the name of God because Jesus says so in here, right? Jesus never said none of this. This is what somebody else wrote down. But just because they wrote it that way doesn't mean that they said it because, hey, how many times has people actually gone and looked in their own medical records and found wrong information in there? I'm not saying that the Bible is that the Bible is no good. The wicked run away when no one is chasing them, but the godly are as bold as lions. See, that's the thing. Michael don't like bold. If you look, you say the lady, like you put it as a bat. Seriously, as a bat. Okay. So people say about the Statue of Liberty. Okay. As a woman, and some people, I've had. I watched someone say that the Statue of Liberty is a depiction of Lucifer. Well, if it's a depiction of Lucifer and it's a female, then what does that say? Michael's picking on a female. Okay. And I said, it's the chains, okay? And somebody was in there, and the Statue of Liberty is actually chains. There's chains. They might remove them, but somebody went down, and there's chains. The feet are chains. They just covered it up. Okay, so you have it in the chains. So they're trying to put the feminine in change. Okay. I submit to God. That's why I can like the God goddess. Because it's the spirit. I surrender to the Holy Spirit. That's why I can speak in different forms of languages and what have you. I didn't learn this stuff anywhere. I got submitted, but I surrendered to my divine purpose. And if it makes me look like a fucking fool, well, I guess that's my purpose. Because it's that part of getting people to see your own divinity and saying, hey, but you want to be submissive, you keep going here. And I want you all to stop saying about free and sovereign. Because as long as you're going by a lot of this, you're not going to be free and sovereign. Because you're going to keep going to somebody else to find what it is that you're searching for. The only place you're going to find that is in here. Your conversation directly with God, not going in and fucking sitting in the little cubby hole thing and saying to the priest or pastor or whatever they are, saying, forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. Why did what okay, my question is, why are you saying that to the pastor? He's not the fucking father. So you're giving him the power of the Father, but you're saying that Jesus is the only Son of God? Ugh! Fuck. See? I know when I'm getting attacked. If you think I'm crazy, you might want to go do a little fucking research. Not being rude, but you don't know. You obviously don't know what crazy is, and I'll just say that you're insane because you keep going through the same hamster wheel. And whether you believe in God or not, like there is an existence, and I don't call it God because you want people to bow to one, but the true creator is the spirit. It's the heart. You create. You're a creator. You create through your heart. You create through your words. You create through your thoughts. But you better go read your Bible again. I want to like there are people. It's you say that Jesus healed you from your addictions or things like that. You give credit to Jesus. But my question is, who is the one doing the work? Seriously, Jesus was maybe a teacher or someone that you looked up to or something like that as a role model. But who did the fucking work? You did. So if you did the work, why are you giving credit to someone outside of you? You're the one doing the work. You're the one not taking. You're the one saying, no, I don't want it. I don't want it. You're the one going through the detox, the the fucking pain of the detox, right? That's you. Kailan mo 'to kinisiyato tay. Eto purito kuribosho neto turisi karema ano kurite turisya. It's not someone, it's not Jesus who healed you, it's you who healed you. And you did it through the Spirit. Better not say that word because, oh, mental health might get offended by it. I don't give a shit. Maybe they should get offended. And maybe they should start seeing that, hey, the reason why people are not getting well from mental health is because they're doing it wrong. Seriously, but hey, call on Michael, he'll protect you. The only thing Michael wants to protect is his own ego. Beat up on a girl, come on! Turisito por eso no molesta. This is a spirit to spirit, and that spirit knows exactly who I'm talking to. So if you freaking feel it, I guess he's connected to you. Grito por ikataritsi nunai. The angels tried to bring Lilith back to Adam. It's like Adam. Stop hiding your sexuality. Maybe I'll say you act like a little girly boy. But there's nothing wrong with having feminine traits. That's where a masculine will get intimidated. Seriously. A masculine will get intimidated, and a masculine can be either a man or a woman. It's the masculine that gets intimidated. And the feminine is okay. So you have Lilith, okay? And Lilith was not submissive, but Lilith was balanced between both masculine and feminine. So she wanted equal. She'd seen them both to be different look, equal people. But Adam didn't like that. Adam couldn't handle that. So Adam took a little baby fit and told the angels, bring her back, bring her back. And Adam, you're a fucking asshole because you still haven't changed. No fucking wonder. You couldn't keep no one. Eve even left him. Took her a while. She was his daughter. This is where you're getting from these different countries. That's where it stems from. But you won't believe that, right? Good to put it again. Maybe Cain killed Abel by accident because the father portrayed himself to be Abel. And that was the only way to get rid of Cain, too, right? That's why I hear sometimes the stepfather. Because Adam was the stepfather to Cain. When Lilith left Adam, that's when it went Lucifer and Lilith were the same. She just separated herself. Remember I said that Mary Magdalene and Yeshua? And Mary Magdalene had to disguise herself as a boy. I now know what I was seeing that day when I seen the beings. I could see them in the mirror, but I couldn't see them in my apartment. It was really weird. The same as I could see them on my peephole, but when I opened the door, they weren't there, which was really fucked up too. So the ones I seen over in the corner, that was showing the light and the dark, the sun and the moon. So the son and the daughter. Okay, the Yeshua and Mary Magdalene. Mary Magdalene had Jesus, and Mother Mary took him as her own, and Mary Magdalene left. Mary Magdalene ran away from home. That is the red dress. The lady in the red dress. Urita Puritium. Alla tu congregaști de urăsie. See, people only, you can't see something any other way than the way you've been taught. My question is why? Why are you not freeing your mind and learning all as much as you can instead of just taking one thing as the only way? You're taking your own choices from yourself. You give up your freedom, you give up your sovereignty to someone else because of a system that makes you believe one way or another. So that's where, like, okay, you have the religion, culture, tradition, what have you, where you're marrying fucking little children. Do I throw shame on that? Well, hey, I'm saying it's pedophilia. And hey, I'm going to say this because a lot of different cultures and uh, races, what have you, will say different people of different color will say about the traditions of the white people. That's much like Cain and Abel all over again. And why, like, was Cain like actually the Jesus and Michael was the Muhammad? Just saying. Because you had, well, okay, someone depicted Jesus as being black and some of dark color and some of light skin. Dark skin, light skin. Do you not see the polarity? Do you not see it? Do you not see it? Seriously. To Cain and Abel. To Christ and Antichrist, as you say. So that's where the division of the male and female, the masculine and feminine came into play. It separated. They didn't want, neither one wanted to be submissive to the other. And Eve wasn't submissive to Adam. He was abusive to her. It was like you said about the fall from grace. So you had, okay, let's say Lucifer and Sophia. Okay, we'll use that as an example. Okay, they say that Lucifer and Sophia were fallen. So Lilith, Sophia would be Lilith. But Sophia turned into Lilith because of what happened to her. Each time Lilith's child was taken from her. Was Michael one of Lilith's children, but said to be a brother, much like what happened with Mary Magdalene and Mother Mary? But see, you won't see it that way, will you? Because you just have so many stories that you've been told from the time you were little, if you went to Sunday school and everything. They don't teach you the whole biblical story. They just teach you their part. And I got blubber here, I know. See? So my question is, why are like I'd go to church if church was right. If church was doing what it was actually meant to be there for. Church was actually like a spiritual hospital. But they demonized the part of it that actually helped people to heal and said, I'm going to stand up at my podium. Ezekiel. We're going to read from Ezekiel today. Let's start with one. Vision of living beings. On July 31st of my 13th year, while I was with the Judan exiles beside the Kebar River in Babylon, the heavens were opened and I saw visions of God. Okay? So why did, see, I use it as, it's like a reference tool. If you have a question, it's not about going. It's like just taking a hold of it and just opening it up somewhere and just pointing your finger. And then reading it. And then asking yourself, what was I just thinking of just before I did that? And thoughts will take you to a positive or a negative. This happened during the 5th year of King Jehovah-Kichin. Is that where you get Jehovah from? Oh, fuck. See? So you look at a king as God. You look at a man, the living God. Captivity. Okay. During the 5th year, okay, captivity. The Lord gave this message to Ezekiel, son of Buzi, a priest beside the Kahar River in the land of the Babylonians. Okay, you're saying of Babylon, like the fall of Babylon. Okay, and he felt the hand of the Lord take hold of him. Now, please tell me, okay, he felt the Lord take hold of him. So, is there a person there with him? Because that's not the impression I'm getting. The impression that I'm getting from that statement is that it was the spirit. So the Lord, the God, the creator, the source is the spirit, right? There was no physical person there with him. It was the spirit. When I went through my stuff, there was no physical person there with me. It was the spirits. See, did Michael feel abandoned by the mother? And that's why he came after Lucifer? Or did the father turn him on Lucifer? And then later, Michael find out that Lucifer was actually the mother. That gets teary. Gilmo totore e mi stai You know, people say I sound crazy, but if I was so crazy, why would it make me so emotional? Because I said I surrendered to spirit. You know what I Preciso triste, mãe. Is it a reunion? People say twin flames. Is twin flames? Is it a reunion of your boyfriend or is it a reunion of a mother and a child? I'd rather connect directly to spirit than go sit in front of somebody standing at a pew telling me I'm a fucking sinner. So I guess I'd rather look crazy as you say. You know, let's do the You know, I may have come on and shared my life story, but family means people say, "Well, how does family mean everything to you if you do that to your family?" I had to speak up because by speaking up, I'm hoping that it helps others see. Supposing if it means that I'm no longer a part of the family. You always kill the messenger, right? Yeah, where should I? You know, maybe it was worth that amongst the fucking male masculine ego-based atoms. Yeah, questi vorrei. So hey, Think I'm crazy? Good. I'm fucking proud to be crazy because it means that I'm awake. And I know what God is, and God is love. And the true God does not fucking put a boot on anybody and chain them to the ground because they want them to say uncle. So hey, this is why there's division between women and men, masculine and feminine. You keep hating on men and you keep hating on women. How about the men instead of hating on the women or the masculines hating on the feminines? How about you balance yourself? Masculines, find your feminine, find your masculine. So the masculines can be a little more calmer and maybe feel something. And instead of like escalating a woman and laughing at her when she's got a problem and she's trying to sort it out and you're being a real fucking asshole. If the woman punched you, you would deserve it. If the like punched you, you would deserve it. But then you'd say, well, we're like same for a woman. If a woman behaved like that, that would mean that they were behaving in their masculine. But see, most of the time when that happens in gay relationships. Because in many relationships, you go by, many people go by the Bible and think it's all traditional. Why is that traditional? Because you say about the sanctity of marriage. I ain't seen any fucking sanctity in marriage yet. And you know why? Because it's not a marriage, it's a fucking contract. A true marriage in the sanctity of God is between the man and the woman. There's no paper involved. You want to separate? There's no paper saying you can't. And you can like when you have the true sanctity of God or the spirit. Shit, I don't know how to show the pictures. Just one sec. Good, ito. Oh, here we go. Okay. Can I rotate this? Sim. Hirap to. Oh, sarap. Let me see. Size. Okay. Looking at this, trying to figure out how to. Oh, there it is. Oh, size image. Rotate. Okay. Okay. This is my wedding photo. Okay. That's my dress. The Halloween section of Value Village. But that it was like Jehovah Witness or not Jehovah Witness. One of those a justice of the peace. Okay, and then let's see. So yeah, I feel that way now. I just went in my photos and I have to check something because something's just not doesn't seem right because I looked through it and I was checking through my photos and I was looking at how many photos were there and it says 77 photos. So I knew I had more than that. Okay. Because it was saying how much space I had used up, and 77 photos would use up more space than that on it. So I got to figure out what went there. Now, when I did that, I could feel that narcissistic laugh, like someone thinking it was funny because I was going to show you wedding picture, but I had picture like it wouldn't have been good because it had a big, bright, bright, bright ball up here over my head in my wedding photo. So that to me didn't mean it, It was a marriage, but it was more of a marriage of convenience. And there wasn't love there. But what I'm saying is it was marriage to help me bring my son home because the courts told, like my lawyer told me that it was only going to be any way that the courts were going to give me custody of my son back unless I was married. So I do thank my ex-husband for doing that with me. But that's not way that's much like an arranged marriage. Okay. I said like these kids, they're children, they're arranged marriage. Why are they what is an arranged marriage usually? It's because there's a dowry, there's money exchange, and that's the selling of the children. Some say, well, it's merging the families. How badly do you have to merge a family to marry your toddler off? Because that's what you're doing. I would rather like stand up and say, hey, no, no. But people will say about trafficking. That's the worst crime because you're willingly doing it. Ghisto po richiamo, è solo dovessi che devo lasciare diritto corresti. I don't care if you believe in Muhammad or Jesus or whoever you believe in. No offense, but you'll take it. That's fine. But hey, I guess you did follow law, Father, didn't you? Letto correttissimo say. It says we're the sinners. Now we live under your sin. We're the offspring of the sinner, the ultimate sinner. He's called sins. Isidore Domosho Nuku Sono Yamayana. Kubisiki. Galatakuri. Somos Yamorea or Isaparea Inuya. Or is told you my channel's not for everyone. I'll make you laugh, I'll make you cry, I'll piss you off, you'll even want to punch me upside my head or energetically attack me. What I see. But bring on the energy. But hey, I say to like keep your hands to yourself. Because there are people that, how's it a fair fight if they're not gonna fight back a punch back? But hey, with energy, even make that fair. Pick up someone your own size. Oh, I can feel that. I can tell everyone. It's that part of you hurt me, you're only hurting yourself because I become that part of you. You see that the Korea Shalom? Yes, I do know when I get like sometimes like I'm not always in my feminine and I'm not always in my masculine, but I can go back and forth pretty quickly if I need to. See, I read energy big time, and my body reacts to what I bring forward. So if I'm sitting with someone and I'm talking with them and I bring something forward, a trigger or a truth, my body will react to it. Like it'll start like what you see, the jerk, the jolt, and yeah, it's like you can feel it going up your spine. It's like you need to become the master of your own beast. You know, the best liar would say they're not a liar. Some even get offended by it. And if you're calling them out, if you're calling a liar out on something and they're getting offended by it, it's that part I guess you can't keep up that lie. So how about you tell the truth? That's true submission. That's the true surrender because you're surrendering to your own shadows and seeing them, looking at them, but you got to heal from them. Some people don't want to because it uses, if they don't heal from it, then they feel like they can use it to their advantage and manipulate people. Those are more so you're more into the narcissistic. And it could be the ego narcissist or it can be the empath narcissist. And you're wondering why I did that because it felt like because okay, the ego is in the mind, and then the empath is more in the body and the heart. Okay. So when you're in that ego, you're in your head, and that's where most of the mind chatter is, right? Okay, and then when you're in your heart, empath, you can either be with lots of love, but like the narcissistic part of the empath is you use your stuff. I got it. I heard and like as a security blanket, but it's not so much as a security blanket as it is a safety deposit box. Hence the Pandora's box. You call the box. The box is the sacral of the feminine. I know I was losing people there for a minute. That's you know, that's bound to happen. Okay, so it's in your womb. You know, you got your period there. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah. I thought it was gonna like literally barf right there. That would have been like, but hey, it's life, so you never know what you're gonna get, and I'm not gonna pause it just because 'cause I'm coughing. Era topurikia moso la kriyesto e turisti no kurita kriyaito moiso. See, people will think that, okay, well, you're submissive if you're doing for God. Well, guess what? If you think that I don't tell the spirit off, if it's something that I don't agree with, or if it's something we're going to talk through, that's what you get on here. I'm not submissive to it. I will, when it's something said, I will pause if something doesn't feel right within me. So I use my own discernment. I don't work for spirit. I work with spirit. Spirit's not superior to me. Spirit walks with me. And some don't like that because they're of the mentality where something's always got to be above you. If something has to be above you, then that's its own insecurity because it has to have somebody to control over because it has no control over itself. Oh, oh, oh, oh, oh, oh, oh. Ganitita mo yun siya na ganyan sa bubuhay. Kaya mo eh, huli mo yung sumuyada. Yeah, ko to huli mo yung I had somebody tell me I had bad spirits, no fucking dollar, right? Like, hey, get your own spirits in check. Hey, you say Jesus is coming back. I think before Jesus or whoever comes back, I think, like, holy shit, they got some anger issues. Hey, if you think I don't know how to look at them, you look at them because I'm looking at photos of me. Holy, oh my God. Like, want to duke it out, old man? You know, if you're going through something, holy, you're going through something like this, you know, you gotta know how to laugh at yourself. Or, you know, all the spirits gotta learn to laugh together. Like, shit, all I'd have to do for Halloween is just grow up and be myself. Oh my God. Talk about the sacral and right in here, man. That's a good belly. Really laugh. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. Who needs fucking TV when you got entertainment like this? Oh my holy. Oh, I guess I don't need to do sit up later. Oh my gosh, you guys are stop it. It's like you got the man who's coming in and coming in right crap. Holy shit. Holy jeez, one way. Yeah, lest we forget. Urike mashalata, uriste kumuri, ikutukure mashalakariestara, uretani kia marakariatare sitore kia, yeshola kamu kasena karake tukare tukutukure sikimukas makapita isora guni, esara kare, kushara maresta, kurin, kurite ke, kia tatai. Oh yeah, yamakota kaisa, yakotai, yes, yeah, kumurite kia, mushara humusa. Chiesa tuviésemos que sacramentos porque cuesta noción a la tur pues sí que para caracterizamos en eso de yeah, there's a lot right in okay, so it'd be right in the thing with so like you might look at it as a yeah, to kiss to get them. Yes, wish it is. See, this is why we were demonized. Sietare simino moshavati sara es moshavati tore. Right now, I'm moving the energies of water in my body and sending it out where it needs to be. I'm healing. Deserato tore kami wetare yesterday. Like right now, it's like the center of the universe. Okay, is the heart. Yep. And the entrance and the exit is the womb. And the exhaust pipe is Uranus. It's like, it's like every time it speaks, whenever it tries to speak, its breath stinks. So, Uranus is the dragon, right? They say that the Korean one. Maybe that's why they always said the same. That's not body farted, but he really shit himself. He shit himself a whole new chaos, right? Did anybody see that video where Donald Trump was talking about reverse bathtubs? I know it sounded like nonsense, and I looked it up to see what it was that he was kind of making reference to. He was making reference to things within the World Trade Center and places like that. Където крие мусори, ошвея. Oh, yeah. You know, if people like look at the Tartarian and they said the mud, almost makes me want to know if he's making reference to the Tartarians and how the mudslide come in, and he's saying that they're still living under there. And that's what he's talking about with regards to the reverse bathtub. Call me Delulu. With all due respect, it can't be too Delulu, but you know, maybe you're the one that's just looking to the narrative. But people like that would say that somebody like myself is Delulu because, you know, you can't think outside of your box or see things from a different perspective. Okay, there we go. Shit, hold on. Oh shit. Well, that ain't gonna work.
He built the reverse bathtub and sat down on top. What is exactly a reverse theory? The problem is nature always wins. I know a lot about reverse bathtubs. I've done it. And it's something you only do in a emergency case.
Reverse bathtub, you only do it, you have a reason. Okay. Now, if you look at the reverse, okay, he's saying you build it up, right? Okay, you're in the bathtub, you build up. So let's go here. I didn't do the whole thing on Wikipedia. The bathtub refers to the underground foundation area at the site of the World Trade Center, an accompanying building in the New York City. The term bathtub is something of a misnomer, as the area does not hold any water. Rather, the purpose of its design is to keep water out. So what he's saying is when they had the mudslide, okay, because the guy, I seen a video where he showed Donald Trump's face on a old building when it was built. But the Tartarians, so it was like he's saying that even though the mud came in, it never affected anything underneath the mud. Because it was designed to keep water out. So is that where you're realizing or seeing that there's underground cities? So I guess you could say, were they there? Were they above ground? Well, they were above ground, and then the mudslide came. So it was already there, right? Did they really build any more stuff? Or did they just build off of what they were in? Because they already had an underground. Because think of it, they were building tunnels in 1749, 1752, when the loyalists and the European settlers came, when the British brought the European settlers, they were put on George's Island and they were put to work building tunnels. Is that your underground? There's your underground world. How high? Because didn't they say that they wanted to build buildings to the sky? The term bathtub is something of a, okay, as the area does not hold any water. Rather, the purpose of its design is to keep water out. And that's why Donald Trump said that he's built them before. Or he's used them before. So he's a developer, right? The name is more, okay. The name is more so used to describe its shape of a different basin with high walls like a bathtub. I don't think I have it. No. Yes, I do, right here. The bathtub, built in 1967 to 1968, encompassing a large, roughly rectangular excavation down to bedrock surrounded by reinforced concrete walls. So underground, because sometimes you have to go 200 feet down before you hit bedrock. Or, no, sorry, excuse me, you hit water. Intended to serve as dams to prevent water intrusion from the nearby Hudson River, North River. It enclosed nearly the entire original World Trade Center. The World Trade Center site was located on man-made water-clogged landfills that had accumulated over centuries, providing an extension of land out onto the Hudson River from the original Manhattan shoreline, with bedrock located 65 feet, 200 meters below. It's about 6 stories, give or take, 5 to 6. Manually removing water from this area would have severely altered the water levels surrounding the World Trade Center site, and thus would have jeopardized the foundations of nearby buildings, causing them to sink. This is why the bathtub method was used. Oh my geez. That's how they built the buildings in Egypt. And See, you know, sometimes things may not make sense, but you were saying, okay, that that's why that day I was at a holistic fair thing. And I told someone there that I had made a comment one time that I asked Donald Trump if he was Lucifer. I don't know what I wrote on. I asked if he was Lucifer, and the guy I told him that I said that, and the guy kind of laughed. He said, "Nah, he ain't Lucifer." So if he's not Lucifer, I have to ask, are you Michael? You wonder, I say, like, holy shit, man. He reminds me, no offense to my oldest son, but he reminds me of my oldest son and my ex-husband. It's like, it's like shit. It's like I heard, do you find that funny? No, I find it ironic. Sí, like the mic show, like, "Riesito güey." No wonder I said he was a warlock. Or he's mad because he doesn't have any warlocks. No. Siento porque como se cree. Because I said that like there was two Peters, okay? There was the younger Peter, and then there was the older Peter. I have strong reason to believe that the older Peter is the father of Jesus and Peter. I said I have a feeling of that. And I feel that they were separated, or you had another son, and that would be the part of Muhammad and Jesus. That would be the one of white and light skin and one of dark skin. I know it took me back there again. Sila ka di mo sila tanong yan, yan. Ito creativity. So if people were wondering about what Donald Trump was talking about with regards to the reverse bathtub, he wasn't literally telling you to take a fucking bathtub and put it on your ceiling. And if he was, which I don't believe that's what he was telling you, he was speaking in, you know, parables. You know, what he did there was leave it to interpretation. But how many of you would have actually looked that up to see what he was talking about? Or you would have said he was really telling you to put a fucking bathtub on your ceiling? It's like it feels like on Once Upon a Time, where on the series Emma and Regina, the evil queen, are going head to head, and they're saying, "Your turn now." It's like, "Correte cremoisa," and I. So, is there something to Donald Trump's madness? Does he have dementia? Oh, possibly. Is he talking in parables? I see that to be feasible, considering, I just told you what the reverse bathtub was. So I said, even my worst enemy, if I felt they were right or knew they were right, I would defend them. So that's like some people can. You got to speak their language, but some people can't speak their language because okay, you say he's a CIA agent or what have you, a spy or what have you, right? Some of you say that about Donald Trump, okay? So if he was that, would he not use code words? Would he look like a raging lunatic with some? A lot of things I don't agree with that he does right now. Is it that he's trying to see if you will actually fight for your family, but not one another, but what's trying to destroy it? You know, yep, he's the Uranus, he's the asshole. No, the void. In Greek mythology, chaos is the void, the primordial void from which all things originated. So the black hole, the womb, now the anus, like the exhaust system, which is way often personified as a goddess and considered the first being in existence. Well, it used to say the goddess. Ahorita que muestra, eh? Well, I guess she had to be an asshole, huh? But see, when I read it before, chaos was depicted as the great grandfather. Chaos and great initial state of the universe at vast creation. Oh, chaos was the first entity. Okay, okay. earth, underworld, earth. So the earth represents the mother, the underworld's the father, and love is Eros, or Eros is love. So love. Mother, father, child, children. So the mother, yes, like I know what I'm trying to bring forward. The first one out of the void. Voglio con le tue se tutto è Yep. So Anubis. Okay, Anubis is depicted as a dog, which so is Saint Christopher. Okay. Saint Christopher in your said biblical text carried the spirit, like carried the Christ and carried the devil, or the perceived evil king. So no, it was they say like and Saint Christopher was a traveler, so walking the earth, which would be Cain. Cain for canine. So Cain was the what do you call it? Shapeshifter for well, not shapeshifter. If you watch the movie Twilight, okay, Cain would have been more considered a native because of his skin tone. He had darker skin. Okay, but maybe he wasn't the one. It doesn't matter. Color doesn't matter. Story does. He if you watch Twilight and the native community, they shift into wolves, right? And then they had the white as being the vampires. So here you had Cain and Abel, which was Caleb. Okay. Puxa, Rihanna. Yeah, it's like, and then people say Cain and Abel. Okay. So if Cain was a wolf, be a meteor, right? Maybe Caleb was both wolf and, well, no, sort of right now. Because right now it's like something's trying to guess at it. that part that's trying to guess. Okay, because she has a baby and she gets pregnant when she's a human, she gets pregnant as a human. By a vampire, and then the baby comes out, and the werewolf marks her. Well, as a protection. He swears to protect her. What they will say, I don't know. So it's okay, the mergent of the two, which is the werewolf and the okay, the animal and the human. Okay. So I have to wait. The animal is the native. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I agree. So that's much like what you're, yeah. Because you depict a snake with fangs. Well, I mean, snakes have fangs, right? And you depict a vampire as having fangs, and you say that they are the serpent because they're the ones that have the telepathy. People have telepathy, but when you use that as manipulation to create an illusion for others, that's where it becomes karmic because you're not like they say be careful what you wish for. Okay, you have a genie, you wish in you rub the lamp, you rub what have you, and the genie pops out, and you have say you have three wishes. Okay, they say be careful what you wish for because what you wish for may not come in the way you were expecting. I'm not saying don't don't wish because like people wish all the time. You throw coins in places and wish. Don't worry about that. It's like, yeah, it's like almost like a rant, but it's not a rant. Porque amanhã. Yeah, I can feel that in me. It's like I'm there and I'm searching for something. It's like when you go in a building or you're somewhere and you're constantly like you're running up and down the stairs trying to figure out what it is that you forgot, or you're like going back and forth and saying, okay, it's like, yeah, I could just feel as I was doing that, I could feel my inner body doing it, and it just kept going. Turisi emotional nini ke sarakia na patapulita kriesa dataya emotion moe. Yep, son of the moon. Because the moon is on the other side of the world. That's why the sun went up. That's when you have parallel. Well, you have your moon. I don't know. Like I'm sitting with an energy, and it's like someone like you have something going on. It's like oh, some of these bosses are converting to pedophilia. Uh, okay. Well, that was rude, Rolly. Yeah, because I had like when I was there, and I was sitting and I could feel it. And then it was like somebody said, I hate my job, that their boss was like a pedophilia. Because somebody had that on their chest, and I could feel it trying to come out. Well, that's where our voices get stuck. How about you reach into your Ark of the Covenant and find your sword of Aaron? It's like, yep, don't let Michael threaten you with the sword. So I keep going back to the relationship where just like it's like it keeps going back to the beginning when I see that image of the God, the adult male, and then the young man connecting fingers. Was that like the father or the stepfather at the son? And that's where you think the son is bad, the father's worse. Wow. Yep. Everyone who believes that twin flame, a child. But I believe it's more than a child. I mean, some believe it's a lover, but in the end, what it is it's that child. You're making peace with your child, your inner child. Somebody just came to someone's door. It's from here. Let me in. See, right now I'm inward. Continuation. Yeah, it's like, I'm ghost hunting. Yep. I had somebody before ask me, is that your new dance? It's like, no one's ever heard of energy healing. Actually, it's energy healing through my own energy manipulation. So if you felt anything from it, then it's because I connected. Straighten the spine. You go in, sit on the toilet, wipe your butt, flush the toilet, wash your hands, and come out. Just ask them politely. Do you mind if I use your facilities? İçeri Türkiye Grecia hanno Grecia dire comunque siete. So, oh, that's why there's nothing. Hey, we got bird sounds. Okay. So, anyways, some of this food for thought, I'm not saying you gotta, this is my opinion. So, this is what I'm seeing, what I'm experiencing. So, some will report me, but because I'm questioning something or because I'm making reference to a book and questioning it and saying what I'm channeling, like my perception of what I've experienced from looking through the book. And other things, including experiences. And hey, we all go through different ones. And hey, if you're like experiencing something that you can't explain and you're afraid to tell someone because they might laugh at you or mock you, tell them anyway. Because you know what you experienced, right? So why not speak about it and not worry about whether you look one way or another? Because eventually those people that you speak up about it to, eventually they will tell their experiences too. So, hey, that being said, I'm sending you all much love, light, many blessings, and most importantly, very good health to anyone and everyone wanting, willing to receive and accept. I want you all to be big, bold, brave. Most importantly, be yourself, be your authentic self. Be who you are, not who somebody says you are. You have to be. Be truthful and honest to yourself. And how do I don't. I don't always know what language I'm speaking or because it's those channels, right? It's those frequencies that I get on, those ancestors, what have you. Okay. And, it's going to, sometimes you can also experience your descendants. Okay. So, like I said, I don't always know what language is coming. So if I start speaking, know that I'm not trying to mimic or make fun of somebody else's language. Nor am I trying to speak like them. It's whatever spirit brings forward in whatever language it may be, because it's not that I'm not speaking to a person per se, as spirit is speaking to the spirits. So send you all love. I was going to say maybe my finger don't work.